Hey folks, SAVAGE1 here, and I just wanted to go over an Arms Warrior PvP guide for Battle for Azeroth 8.0.1. Now I'm going to break this thing down into three different sections. First we're going to talk about talents, and then we're going to talk about your rotation, and then we're going to talk about your stat priority. Now first, let's go ahead and get into talents. The first talent you're going to pick as an Arms Warrior is going to be Sudden Death. Now Sudden Death makes your attacks give you a chance for your next execute to cost no rage and be usable on any target regardless of their health. Typically the target has to be under a certain percentage of health for execute to work, but in this case you can use it at any time as long as one of your attacks procs this. Now your second talent you're going to want to choose is Stormbolt. Stormbolt provides a crowd control as far as a stun, and with Arms Warrior not having too much in its toolkit as far as crowd control, this is going to be essential in PvP. So your next talent that you're going to want to choose is Massacre. Now this brings your usability of execute to be able to be used under 35%. Now this is very helpful because one of the PvP talents that you're going to spec into in this build, it provides you a sort of like a charge, and I'll go over that in a moment. Now defensive stance is going to be your next talent, and with Arms Warrior not having much in its toolkit as far as healing, self heals, this provides you with a 20% damage reduction, but it comes with a price where you can only deal damage 10% less of what you would without defensive stance up. This helps you to stay in battle and helps your healers to heal you. Now your next talent you're going to want to pick Warbreaker. This replaces Colossus Smash, and what it does is it smashes the ground in an AoE manner, and it deals a number of physical damage to the target. This provides a large boost in damage, and you can get some pretty high spikes if you have a damage meter using this talent, especially if you hit a number of targets. Now your next talent you're going to want to choose is Avatar. Avatar not only provides you with a 20% increased damage buff, but it also removes roots and snares on you. So as a warrior you're always going to be kited, so this helps with removing any snares in your way when you are being kited. Now you can either go with anger management or dreadnought. I choose dreadnought because it provides you with 2 charges of overpower. Now a lot of your abilities use rage, and there's not much that builds rage as an arm warrior except for your auto attacks. So having items in your rotation that have multiple charges provides you with a much smoother rotation going into arms. Now as far as our PvP talents, as always we're going to pick Gladiator's Medallion because of rogue stun locks. The other talents in this tier are going to proc as soon as there's a long enough sap, and you don't want to be using your medallion on a sap. You would want to use it on something where there's a considerable amount of time going to be added onto your cooldown. Now your next talent in your PvP talent pool, you're going to want to choose Sharpened Blade. Sharpened Blade, when activated, it makes your next mortal strike deal 15% increased damage and reduce healing taken by 50% for 4 seconds. Now this is good when you're trying to focus healers and you want to dampen their healing that they're able to do on themselves, or other healers if it's an RBG. Now your next talent that you're going to want to pick here is going to be Death Sentence. Death Sentence makes your execute, it gives it a 15-yard range, and it basically charges your execute towards the target. So this helps when you're being kited, when the enemy player has low health and you're all out of charges. Your next talent is going to be Storm of Destruction. It reduces the cooldown of your blade storm by 33%, as well as adds mortal wounds to all targets. So this basically provides a bleed to your target. Now, next I wanted to go over rotation. Now, the first item that you want to use in your rotation is going to be Mortal Strike. Mortal Strike does a vicious strike, deals a considerable amount of damage, but it also reduces the effectiveness of healing by 25%. Now, with Sharpened Blade, it's going to increase that by additional 50%. Having Sharpened Blade and Mortal Strike in combination is going to be key. Now, you can use Slam if you want to start doing high DPS on your target, but most of the time you're going to want to use Hamstring. Hamstring is going to reduce the movement speed of the enemy target by 50% for 15 seconds. Now, you can easily put a few of these into your rotation to slow your targets whenever possible. Also, you want to be using Overpower. This is going to provide you, if you spec into it properly, 2 charges of a physical damage attack that cannot be blocked. And it also increases the damage of your next Mortal Strike by 30%. Now, you could sprinkle Victory Rush. Not always are you going to get the killing blow on your target, but if you can get the killing blow on the target, you can heal yourself for 20% of your maximum health. Now, since we spec'd into Warbreaker, we're always going to want to use this to increase your damage output. Like I said, in the talents portion, it provides a 30% damage buff. That's about it for rotation, as Arms Warrior is mostly a single target character. Alright, let's get into stat priority here. Now, your main stat that you are going to want to stack is going to be Mastery. Arms Warrior probably have the most mastery out of any spec or class in the game. If spec'd into properly and geared into properly, you can have a very considerable amount of mastery. Now, what mastery does is it provides a bleed on the target called Deep Wounds. Now, the higher this is, the higher the bleed damage every second that you deal. Now, I would probably go Haste next, because the Arms Warrior rotation is sort of slow and kind of methodical. There's a lot of big blows. So you want to go into Haste to speed up your rotation a little bit. Now, I would say Critical Strike next, because you're already doing a lot of damage, so having some of those big damage dealing abilities proc a Critical Strike, it would be almost 100 to 0 on the health pool for your enemy targets. Now, that's about it for this video here, and just want to thank you guys for watching my video. First of all, I do have a Twitch and a Facebook and a Patreon. If you want to check them out, I'll put them in the description. But that's all I have here today for Arms Warrior. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching my video.